So in an effort to kind of help practice the idea of portrait drawing, we are going to be creating some continuous contour portraits. And a continuous contour line portrait is basically where you are using a reference, either a live model or a photograph, and you continuously draw the portrait, kind of connecting all of the features without lifting up your pen or pencil or whatever you're using to actually draw the portrait with. So this is one that I actually created a while back. I have gone back in with some color, this is watercolor, and added some elements. I don't believe this one's finished. I think I kind of want to go back in with either some colored pencil or some chalk pastel, especially in the glasses here and in the hair, to add some more textural elements. But you can see that, you know, here on the lip, and especially like in the nose and the mouth area, all of those lines are connected because I wasn't picking up my pen when I was creating the portrait itself. And this helps in kind of practicing out the hand-eye coordination it takes to create a drawing. It also helps in practice with proportion. But these images will not most likely be perfect, but it is a really good exercise. And I got the idea by kind of looking through Instagram and finding some really cool images of some continuous contours. Especially these are really good examples of how you can add color later. And they just look really, really neat in terms of compositionally and kind of choosing a color scheme to kind of finish the portrait with. I love this one, especially with the hair, what's going on in the hair here. And then we have something that's a little bit more minimal, but still really neat in terms of color and composition, and kind of finishing off, kind of creating these planes when you're creating the drawing itself. It's really, really neat. And this one's obviously a little bit different, but still really neat in the end. So I have given myself this reference image that I'm going to use of my sister, my lovely, beautiful gal here. So I'm going to use this as my reference. I'm going to place it exactly right in my plane of view, so that as I'm creating the portrait, I don't have to, you know, look back and forth a lot, or I don't have to like move my head or try to, you know, maneuver around. I'm just simply going to, you know, reference back and forth here. So I'm going to attempt to kind of talk out my process, and we'll see how it goes here. All right, where to start? Always where to start. We're going to start with an eye. And the biggest thing here is to continuously kind of look back and forth, but also move slow enough to where, and I'm using a brush pen here, so these eyelashes are going to be like crazy. Now I have seen a lot of people that will say, well, you can't like repeat back over top of a line. I'm not one of those people. I don't mind if you kind of go back over top of an area a couple times. Especially because that's just kind of a way to refine a shape or refine an area. But I would say try to avoid the sketch look. So you know that, you know, I'm using choppy lines would be more of like a sketch, and that's not the look I'm going for. I'm definitely going for something that's more refined and finished rather than just kind of like a sketch. All right, and we'll do her kind of upper eyelid here and come up and around to her eyebrows. And it's all kind of like a strategic game too, of what you're actually going to connect together and how you're going to connect it. So like now, I don't want to go like all the way down. I don't want to go like across to her other eyebrow. So I think I'm going to go kind of like down for her nose. Get that area. Her other nostril here. Alright, and instead of going up and creating kind of that weird, you know, eyebrow and everything, I think I'm going to come back around and go down to where her lip is. So her lip kind of, she's got these really, really big lips, my dear sister. And I know that I am picking up my pen and kind of repositioning a little bit, but I'm trying to keep in mind here the video so that you guys can see what I'm doing at each point here. And I'm not like picking up and starting somewhere else. I'm at least picking up where I left off. Let's kind of create some areas here, kind of help give the lips a little bit of their texture. Alright, so now, let's see, let's go down and kind of pick up this part of our jawline here. Interesting. It looks like I kind of made them too far apart, but let's see if we can make it work here. Kind of hard too because she's got these like reflections going on inside of her eye. If you notice, I'm not trying to rush through this. I'm really trying to go back and forth from my drawing. Oh my goodness, yes, proportionally off. That is really off a little bit here. But let's see if we can pull it out here in the end. To be our jawline. I'll kind of go back this other way until we can get to the point of doing the hair. So we'll come back down, kind of give ourselves some shape and some form here. And we need to kind of make our way back over here so that I can include the neck. She's got this really crazy looking necklace, so we'll try to get some of those in here. these jewels on it. So I'm not lifting up my pen at all. I'm trying to make sure all of these are connected around. And I'm referencing back and forth to my photograph and my drawing. Okay. Now this is kind of hard over here because we can't really see. The picture kind of cuts off here, so I'm going to just kind of create some other hair to kind of cover up some of those sections and fill in my page here a little bit. And then we'll kind of come back around into the other part of our shirt and her hair that's kind of sweeping off to the side here. And there we go. So we have our completed portrait with our continuous line contour drawing. So after this, now that I have this done, the continuous line drawing done, I can go back in and kind of like what I did with this one is choose out some different colors. Now they don't have to necessarily be true to life colors. I really like to explore color and, you know, the abstractions of color. And I want you guys to kind of do the same and feel free to really kind of test the boundaries in terms of what your portrait ends up looking like. And keep in mind, you know, these examples that I showed you here in the beginning of different options in terms of color, what you can do. Especially if you want to leave areas like undone or uncolored, that's totally fine, especially if you're kind of treating it, you know, flat areas of color and almost choosing kind of a color scheme to apply to your portrait, because in the end you're probably going to have something very similar where you have these areas of like planes of the face that you can apply color to. So that's what I would like for you to work on and practice. Even if it takes you a couple of turns or a couple of tries to actually create a portrait that you're happy with, I would rather you, you know, make several versions of the same portrait or even similar portraits, and then be in the end very happy with what you were able to create. It's all practice, you know, practice makes progress. And that is the whole point of, you know, going in and doing these exercises, is to not reach perfection, but to continuously grow throughout the year. So, continuous line, contour drawing.